Well, welcome back, everyone. We are here for another episode of Coffee with Colleagues. Well, welcome back, everyone. I am thrilled to welcome my friend, my colleague, Mr. Junior Collins. Junior, hey, how you doing?
Jeremy, Mr. Mark Ward, thank you so much for having me, man. I'm so happy to be here. I'm doing well. Everything's going great. I'm settling nicely, and just happy to be in this space right now.
Great stuff, man. Well, we're going to explore all the space that you're in this call, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know you. You know, guys, the purpose of these calls is to just have a conversation. It's really a conversational piece for you to get to know my colleagues, what makes them tick, what I admire about them, things that I see in them for their potential, their future. Junior is recently left the hotel side of the industry to join Conference Direct on Team Marquardt. I'm thrilled to have him as a colleague, and I really want to again highlight who he is, how he got here, and what lies ahead. So, Junior, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are?
Yeah, well, again, Jeremy, thank you so much for having me. Thrilled to be here. As you know, I came from the supplier side of things. I'm from the hotelier world. I got my start very early on in the hotel. My first job was actually at the Fontainebleau back in 2008 as a guest services runner, and I kind of just stuck with it from there. I got into reservations, and from reservations, I got into a sales coordinator position, which was great. And from there, I got into a group sales position. And then from there, I grew into a senior sales manager position on the hotel side.
That's fantastic. So you kind of match the progress of some things that I've done. I started as a concierge, went into a very small role in group sales, and grew my way into sales leadership roles from there. Tell me about that experience. First of all, what do you love about the hospitality industry? I guess start there. Why did you find yourself in the industry in the first place? And then what led you on the path from an operational side of things more into the group sales side of things?
Well, funny story, believe it or not, I was actually in at FIU, Florida International University, for mechanical engineering, believe it or not. And at the time,
Engineering to hospitality. Wait a minute. Engineering to hospitality. That's not necessarily a match that you would see going for, at least from, there are engineers in hospitality, don't get me wrong, but not that
yeah.
don't make it into sales or the customer relation side of things. What tell me more.
Right, that's a complete 180 or 360 if you want to call it that. So yeah, I started off at FIU as a mechanical engineer, but I'll be completely honest. It was way too much math. I just couldn't deal. Too much math. And at the time, I had just gotten my first job, like I mentioned before, at the Fontainebleau, and I kind of I started thinking about what else I could potentially do apart from engineering. And around that time, I got the position in reservations, and I got into the sales or beginning sales, if you want to call it that side of things. And I was like, wow, I'm really good at this. So I made the decision to switch my major. I switched my major to hospitality, and never looked back. And from there, the two kind of went hand in hand. From reservations, I went to the sales coordinator position, and I was progressing in my hospitality courses, and the two kind of matched. I was learning when I was in class. I was learning when I was at work, and so I kind of had a good situation where I was propelled into the hospitality industry. With a slight advantage being that I was in school for hospitality and
Yeah.
also working full time as a sales coordinator. So I had a really the stars kind of lined up for me, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, that's great. You get the class education, but you also have the real life experience of being in the middle
Right.
of a hotel. I don't think there's any way better to learn than baptism by fire, than being right in the middle of everything and having to learn on the go.
Absolutely.
What drew you to sales? Why did you go from an operational side of things to the sales side of things? Was there financial motivation? Was it just an ability to work on a deeper level with clients? What were your motivations behind the move into sales?
Well, the move to sales was really just trying to progress and grow within hospitality.
Sure.
I always considered myself somewhat of a salesperson. I always had that knack of being able to sell what no one else could. So naturally, I figured that would be a good direction to go. Not to mention, there were really good financial benefits as well, right? And at the time, that was something I wanted to pursue and progress at.
Yeah, they say that nothing happens until somebody sells something, right? And I don't care what industry you're in,
Right.
someone's got to build a vision and be able to sell it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely true within the hotel world for sure. But now you find yourself with ConferenceDirect, and for those who are listening who might not know, on the sales side, when you're in hotels, you're trying to attract groups and conventions to your hotel to have their meetings with you. And you set yourself apart from the competition, obviously, to try and present your hotel as the best option. On our side with ConferenceDirect, what we essentially become is an intermediary between our clients and the hotels. We represent them as they're looking for event space, convention space, and we do our best job to save them time and money in the process of them finding a hotel venue. And obviously, contractual terms, risk mitigation, all those things play in. So really, it's an independent role. You're not necessarily working for a boss anymore. Junior and I have had this conversation on many times, how freeing and liberating it is to kind of get out from the corporate grind and start to do things on your own and still use the skill set that you have within hospitality. You're putting the same toolkit to use. But anyway, Junior, tell me more about what your motivations were to come to ConferenceDirect. Why did you see a natural progression in your career to move from hotel sales into more of an independent role representing your clients?
Yeah, very good point. So as we've spoken off camera multiple times, I've been in this space or this headspace, I should say, for a long time. I've always considered myself, an independent salesperson, right? I've always considered myself an advocate of my clients, even when I was on the supplier side, and so my motivation for making the jump, so to speak, swimming across to the other side, was really because I wanted my freedom back, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to regain control of my time. I wanted to regain control of my life, but also, I always felt closer to my clients, even when I was a sales manager. I always wanted to, be the salesperson that they remembered, that went above and beyond for them, that made sure it was a win-win, right, and not a win-lose either way. And so that was another one of my motivations. My third motivation was I've always wanted to be a business owner. I've always wanted to be able to, call the shots, so to speak, make my own decisions, and just be responsible for myself and my future.
Yeah, I got to say that, one of the things I love and appreciate about this model, I think there's so many ways you can start your own entrepreneurial path, right? You can open up a storefront, you can begin to sell things online, you can do all kinds of stuff. A lot of that requires a heavy investment when you start your own business, a heavy upfront investment. And one of the things I love about the ConferenceDirect model is that you don't need that heavy investment. You need a computer and a phone. I think that's probably the basics. And then it's really about the hustle. It's about putting in time and effort to build those relationships. Reach out to the people that you've already served and build those relationships closer. And Junior, you mentioned one thing too, the beauty about this model. Another thing that you remind me of, the beauty of this model is your comfort level with your clients. In the hotel world, you deal with a client and maybe you book them one time, and then you're waiting another 5 years till the program comes back to your city and maybe we'll select your hotel again, if you're even at that hotel anymore, right? So you build those relationships for one transaction. And in this model, you're able to take those relationships and nurture them throughout the year. You're working with your client on multiple programs year after year after year. It's really a beautiful way to extend those relationships beyond one transaction and make it more about a relationship that pays dividends, like you said, win-win for both you and your client well into the future. Talk more about
Absolutely.
your passion for your clients and how you want that to translate into your new role with Conference Direct.
100%. So, to give you an example, when working with my clients, I always want to make sure that I understand them completely, right? I always want to make sure that I know what they're looking for, what they want to accomplish. I also want to make sure I hear them out before I suggest anything.
Yeah.
I try to sell them anything. I always want to make sure that we are on the same page from the very beginning. That way, I can make the right suggestions for them. I can guide them. We become in sync, so to speak, right? And we get the best outcome, right? We get the best service levels from the hotel. We get the best service levels from any other parties that may be involved, and just all around. We want to make sure that we're always on the same page.
Talk to me about those characteristics and when you look to build your personal brand, whether that was in the hotel side or now obviously with Conference Direct, I think your personal brand is all the more important. What are the characteristics that you look to convey to your clients? How do people define Junior Collins? And when a client chooses to work with you, what's the experience you're going to get? What are the earmarks of your brand?
Well, for certain, 100%, you definitely have to be. I like to call it, the guy. You have to have the it factor. You have to absolutely. You have to
the je ne sais quoi. Yeah.
You have to be able to make it happen, right? Whatever that entails, and that comes with time. And that comes with knowing your client, like I was mentioning before, and knowing what they love, what they don't love, and what makes them tick. Some of the qualities that I aspire to are being able to make things happen no matter what they are. Never say no. You always be willing to go above and beyond. Always be willing to go that extra 100% and deliver.
That's fantastic. So I hear you want to be the guy, you want to have that personalized service. Give me a story, I guess, about the best time that you demonstrated those characteristics to a client. What was something that defined an interaction or a transaction that you had that you can say you were super proud of, you loved the way the transaction went down and your client ended up super satisfied?
Yeah, well, absolutely. In my most recent position, or I should say my last position as a hotel sales manager, as you know, the industry changed significantly since March. My particular hotel was closed for several months, but when we finally reopened, we wanted to make it happen. And so, even though we were shorthanded, as most hotels are right now, and some of the responses that we got from our clients were just amazing. We got a lot of congratulations on how we did that with a lot of, or I should say, with less staff than normal, and that's something that I can say that really set my brand apart and set me apart from the competitors.
Yeah, I think 2020 from a hotel side of things, you definitely had to wear more hats than you're normally asked to wear, for sure. Talk about this crazy year. I mean, what was your year like? You just recently joined Conference Direct, so you were on the hotel side for most of the year. what did you see from a client trend? What did you see within the hotel side of things that spoke to you? Like, I guess, what are some of the lessons that this year of the pandemic has taught you?
Wow. Where do I start?
Where do we begin,
Right?
right? Where do we
Where do
begin?
I
Yeah.
start? Where do I start? So many changes in so little time, which feels like 10 years. We've never been more connected. Uh, Clients were more understanding. Hotels were more flexible. Hotels wanted to give more, even though they had less. Clients expected less, even though they should have had more. So it was a great coming together. I can definitely say that from just a general standpoint, everyone came together, and we've never been more connected than we are now, because we all went through this together. And
Tell me about the best compliment you've ever received from one of your clients, or perhaps a hotel colleague. What's something that you felt super proud of that you had done and they paid you the biggest compliment?
well, believe it or not, right after we opened up and I'm speaking about my last hotel. We opened up in September after being closed for a few months. We closed in March, and we opened in September, and we confirmed a group for October, and we made it happen. It was a big deal. It was a big feat, and coming out of it, my client told me that she wished she had five more of me, and she wishes that she could take me with her to every event. And that was really, I think that hit home for me. I really appreciated that, because not only was it the first group that we confirmed, since we were open after the COVID situation, or after being closed, I should say, but it was it was the first piece of business. It was the first glimmer of hope, and definitely that's something that I'll take with me going forward to Conference Direct.
Well, now this particular client, I'm not sure who you're talking about, but now she can take you to every single event that she has in the future. You need to get on that,
Exactly.
man. Make sure that
Exactly.
she's singing your praises with Conference Direct. But it's so funny though, because I often said, when you get a win on the hotel side of things, when you're a hotel salesperson, you win for the hotel and you win for the associates and everyone who's working with that hotel. That's awesome. When you get a win on the Conference Direct side of things, you benefit because you've brokered a deal and you are able to build your business. Your client wins because in an ideal world, and in most every transaction, again, you save them time and money, and you've added value to the product or the
Right.
process, I should say. And then the hotel wins. They ultimately gets the business. You're still providing the hotel with wins, the ultimate hotel that gets selected for the program, but you're also gaining wins along the way. It's kind of a win-win-win between your client, the hotel, and yourself. It's an awesome way to again, you know, you have a certain sense of pride, I think, when you're able to bring business to a hotel and keep people employed, and you've added value to your client. I mean, it's a really great way, just as we talked about earlier, to nurture relationships in multiple directions. It's super, super cool. How do you continue? Again, we talked about such transition in this year. How do you continue to stay educated, to stay on top of things? What are your go-tos? And I'm talking about business, I guess. Like, are there certain business books or blogs or newsletters that you read, or just on a personal level? How do you continue to challenge yourself to grow?
Yeah, I mean, knowledge is infinite, right? If we're learning every day, what do we really know if we're continuing to learn every day? So I look at it like that. I always consider myself a pupil, no matter what the subject is. Even if it's something that one would think that they've mastered, I always consider myself a pupil, because you can always learn something, regardless of what the subject matter is. You can always learn something that will help you. I'm sure you've heard of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
One of my favorite books of all time. One of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Go on, go on. Tell me more.
That's one of my go-tos. And even though I've gone through it a few times, and I've taken the trainings, I always go back to it, because it's good to remind yourself of especially in times like this, of how to stay stay focused.
Well, isn't the seventh habit, after all, sharpening the saw? Like you got to go back and keep yourself sharp, right?
Absolutely. Always got to go back and keep yourself sharp. And you always got to be ready to learn and ready to progress. And you always got to manage your time. You always have to think think big. You always got to make sure that you have goals, right? Setting goals is important.
Yeah.
Um, you always want to make sure you challenge yourself, right? And you always want to make sure that you keep track of your progress.
Junior, tell me, as you start to build your client base with Conference Direct, who are the clients you're going after? What kind of clients did you work with on the hotel side that you got excited about, that you could kind of really feel the vision of their program? Do you have a certain client base that you're targeting, and how do you see yourself building your book of business, I guess, with Conference Direct?
Yeah, well, entertainment and production was actually really big.
Well, you do live in Miami after all, so that's the
and I do live in
Magic
Miami.
City. Yeah,
The
the Magic City. Yeah.
Yeah. So entertainment and production was really really big pre-COVID, and I think it will be even bigger once we turn the corner on this thing completely. For example, Friday, March 13th, I had a big production group in house. Shout out to that production group if they're watching this or watches this later on. And they had to stop. They had to stop everything, and they just had to shut it down. And I believe those will come to fruition once once we go back to some kind of normalcy. And so I'll be starting there. I'll be starting there, but everything's on the table, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not limiting anything to any specific segment. If I've worked with someone in the past and we had a good relationship, definitely that's going to be prospective business for me.
Good for you. Yeah, I love the fact you're focused on a certain market, but it is, as you referred to, it's about relationships. If you've got relationships across whatever industry, I think the ability to nurture those relationships into the future to help them and help yourself is a key to this model. Junior, you and I talked just yesterday, in fact, on a group call here about you had found yourself as a sales manager, or I should say as a sales admin, looking into the sales world, the people that you were surrounded with. They were a stellar group of salespeople, people you look up to. Yeah. And then when you jumped into that role, when you got promoted into the sales role yourself and found yourself there, like what were the emotions you played into to find success as a salesperson?
Absolutely. Well, I can definitely tell you that there's similar emotions now moving into ConferenceDirect, so I can definitely relate the two. When I was an admin and I got promoted into my first active group sales role. Shout out to Fred Curry for promoting me if he's watching this. And he was a fantastic director. And the salespeople around me were also fantastic. And they had been, I had been, in the passenger seat, so to speak, for a long time, watching, learning, and waiting for the opportunity. So when the opportunity finally came and I arrived, I was absolutely nervous, times 1,000, right? But I was surprised, because I kind of just threw myself into it, and it was a pleasant surprise that I had subconsciously learned and absorbed a lot. And once I kind of shook it off a little bit, I was really surprised to how I handled situations and what I knew that I wasn't top of mind, and all things that were coming back to me. And so I'll definitely put that foot forward with my transition into ConferenceDirect. I'll shake it off a bit, and I'll just let my instincts guide me. I have a great team of people to look up to, as I did before, and I'm learning a lot right now, and I'll continue to learn a lot. as I move forward, and I'll just let those those tools guide me, and hopefully the outcome will be the same.
There you go. Listen, I read a quote. I think it was from Luciano Pavarotti, the great opera singer who passed away several years ago. He used to say, you know, no matter how accomplished I am and no matter how many operas I've done, every single time I'm about to step on stage, I have butterflies and nerves in my stomach. And I think, he talked about how he used that as a bit of fuel for success, that he didn't want to ever let himself get complacent. So the butterflies you're feeling, the nervousness you're feeling, I think that's a good thing. That's a great sign that you are, you're eager to turn that energy into the same success story, right? It's when you get a little too complacent and when you don't feel that nervous energy that sometimes you're missing opportunities, or you're sleeping on opportunities that are coming your way. So man, I encourage you, just take those butterflies and turn them into positive energy. Tell me what else you want to share. I'm so thrilled that you're on the team. I love the fact that you're taking your career in your own hands. As you begin to find success within ConferenceDirect, tell me, what do you want to share with your potential clients kind of as we wrap up this call? What are the takeaways that we need to know about Junior Collins as you find your success here within ConferenceDirect?
Yeah, for my clients out there, you know me well. Give me a shot, and I'll prove you right. I'll get it done for you. For my my previous colleagues, I wouldn't trade my time with you for anything. It's definitely been what has compelled me to make this move and to achieve greater things. But what I've learned from the hospitality industry in general, and from the hotel industry, being a guest services runner, to being a reservations agent, to being a sales coordinator, and then a sales manager. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. Because if I did, I wouldn't be here in this moment. So I'm absolutely gracious for that, thankful for that, and I'm looking forward to ConferenceDirect and bring that same ideology and that same hard work and grit, and ready to make it happen.
Awesome. I've heard before that life is a series of collecting dots that you have to eventually connect. And as you start to connect those dots, you start to see a picture form. And it sounds like you've collected a great amount of dots on the hotel side and through your experiences now to start forming a new image and connect them in a different way that's going to translate into a similar amount of success you've experienced in the past, but just in a different vein. I love the fact you mentioned grit. I think that you're going to need anybody who's successful, no matter whether you're on the corporate side or doing things on your own. You need that grit, you need that determination to want to stick things through. And I'm thrilled to make that journey with you, man. I know that we're poised for great things with you, your personal success, our collective success as a team. And I just want to thank you for making the jump. I know that's something you've had on your, like you said, you've been in this mental space for a while now, wanting to make this jump. And the fact that you've done it now, I celebrate it. I think it's awesome. And I look forward to seeing your success, man.
Jeremy, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate having you as a colleague. I appreciate having you as a mentor. You've also made the jump, and you also came from the hotel side, so you know exactly what it feels like, the thrills, the lows, and just what it entails in general. So I appreciate having you on my team and in my corner.
My pleasure, man. Well, listen, it's been a great time sharing some thoughts with you this morning. Those of you who are listening and watching, I hope you got something out of it. Junior's your man. Contact him. Like he said, he's the guy. Junior, the guy. I think that's going to be my new nickname for him. You got to be the guy, and Junior is that guy for you. So, guys, thanks for taking time for Coffee with Colleagues. We're in the holiday season here. Happy holidays to all of you. And Junior, wishing you nothing but success in the future here, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays, Jeremy.
All right, guys. Take care.